Shalom Akim, Kahalayim La Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushua, Bahashem Rakakudash, and double honors to the great and apostles and the elder bishops of Great Millstone. Athadi Yahshua for the strength and all to make this video, and Yaratazar you find it edifying and also exhorting. To edify means to build up, to exhort meaning to encourage. So of course lately on the news, especially for those of us in the UK, there's been news on the droughts, of course, with the heat waves as well. Droughts being one of the side effects. Another thing also being the hosepipe bans too, where of course certain regions of the UK they turn off the taps or they limit the amount of water that you can use, for a certain amount of time. So all of this is just warming up more and more, getting deeper and deeper into Jacob's trouble. They're referring to Jeremiah 13 verse 7. But this one, is really more so focused on, in this video that I'm making right now, is more so focused on literal famine, which is practically the restriction or the scarcity of food. In fact, you know what, I'm going to start with the definition, and then Yaratazar, I'm going to get to this precept here, definition of famine. So this is from the Cambridge Dictionary for the definition of famine. A situation in which there is not enough food for a great number of people, causing illness and death, or a particular period when this happens. So of course examples here, it says widespread famine. Another crop failure could result in widespread famine, which is related to the video that I'm going to play, because there's a clip that talks about the harvest having to be pulled in early, but nevertheless I'm gonna play it later, soon enough. But yeah, a situation in which there is not enough food for a great number of people. So for a population, let's say, as they say, UK does import a large amount of their foods. So if those imports, again, with the war, US-Israel war with Iran, based on the Strait of Hormuz keeps going, the ripple effects of that in terms of imports would be detrimental for the UK. But that's just one aspect of things. Then you got the drought as well because of the heat waves, which is, in fact, let's even says the definition of drought as well. You got a drought, which of course water is needed to grow crops. But if you ain't got water, then it's gonna dry out and die. So drought, it says a long period when there is little or no rain. And of course that rain is how the crops get water, predominantly. So let's get famine again. But yeah, for famine, it says a situation in which there is not enough food, man. So when there isn't enough food, and of course the ripple effects of these conditions, whether it's Esau doing it or not, the point is it's via the Most High's decree of which is why these things are happening. So nevertheless of the famine, the point is this is a time where faith will be tested as well. And of course those who don't have Yahweh Shem Yahushua, as we always reiterate, will be the ones of whom will be confounded when these times come. You won't be able to get food from your local supermarket or your local market anymore. It'll be like those movies where, again, what do they call it? Well, yeah, zombie apocalypse, pretty much an apocalyptic type of scenarios. Certain movies out there, like I'm trying to think of some. I think World War Z was one, if that's even the name of the movie. The one with Brad Pitt. I think it was a case where a disease was spreading, but those who had the sickness already, I think they were the ones of whom the disease or the zombie disease didn't even touch. That's a whole other matter anyways, but I want to focus on food right now. But of course, when it comes to certain movies, I believe The Road is another one as well. Where food is scarce, people really go crazy. But only those who have this truth and again fully trust in Yahweh Shem Yahushua, will have a stable mind. When you have your trust in Yahweh Shem Yahushua, just as people in this world have their trust in Esau's system, they're calm. Unfortunately, when you have your trust in temporary things, of course, when that temporary thing shatters or disappears, so your so-called trust and confidence will shatter alongside with it. But when your trust is in something, an eternal power, the real power, which is Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Yahweh and Yahushai, then you'll be fine, because of course you're rooted in a strong foundation eternally, spiritually. So of course in the physical, that'll also be shown as well. But anyways, let's get back to the precept. So this is Ezekiel 5 and verse 11. Wherefore as I live, saith the Lord Yahweh the Most High, surely because thou hast defiled my sanctuary, and all thy detestable things, and with all thine abominations, therefore will I also diminish thee, neither shall mine eye spare, neither will I have any pity. So of course the point is that because of the fact that that's why it's called Jacob's trouble. You know, in Jeremiah, if I'm gonna let me get it from the other one. This is Jeremiah 13 verse 7. Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. Of course, Jacob is referenced to, again, as the chosen seed line, being Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. But after Jacob wrestled that angel, his name was renamed to Israel, which of course is referring to the whole nation, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native American Indians, and of course the speckled bird out there, referring to Jeremiah 12 and 9. Speckled bird is just a person who may look like a heathen, but is actually an Israelite by bloodline, on their father's side. Anyway, so Jacob's trouble, that's when Israelites are going to go through a very great suffering, which is what tribulation means. It just means great suffering. So it says, but he shall be saved out of it. Not everyone is going to be saved out of it, but a certain remnant will be selected, which is already pre-selected by the Most High as well. They're the ones who are going to be preserved in that time. Hence why Yaratazar, of course, as we're doing these videos, as we're implementing these scriptures, as we're praying for mercy, as we're fasting, as we're of course communing with Yahweh and Yahushai, the point is we have a faith that we'll be the ones of whom will be looked after in that day of Jacob, as we get deeper into Jacob's trouble, because again things are just see as the fire increasing in its intensity. Right now it's like a little fire, but just watch when that famine hits, when the drought hits, and this place this place be looking like I Am Legend, like the movie. Then you see people's sides come up, as they say, when just apply pressure, then people's real spirits will be coming out. Just like they say, pressure makes diamonds. Pressure also breaks people too. So the refinement we've gone through with all the sufferings we've gone through and the experiences that the Most High has given us to harden us, will be a testament to that refinement in Jacob's trouble as well. So Isaiah 10 and verse 20, and it shall come to pass in that day that the remnant, which is a small portion, the remainder of Israel, and such as are escaped of the house of Jacob, those who escape Jacob's trouble, you can see it that way too, shall no more again stay upon him that smote them, our enemy, predominantly Esau, Edom. The ones who are in rulership right now, of course, Amalek being a descendant of Esau, Edom as well, he's included too. But nevertheless of that, we will no longer be oppressed by them. So it says, but shall stay upon the Lord Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai. So of course Yahweh and Yahushai, the Holy One of Israel in truth. The remnant shall return, even the remnant of Jacob, unto the mighty power. And of course, Yahushua, literally, his name means he saves or he delivers. And he's going to deliver this remnant, aka the 144,000 in Revelation 14, and which are the governing body of the new kingdom, Yahushua's kingdom, and the 1/3 as well of Israel, Zechariah 13 and verse 9, which will be predominantly women and children as well. So let's get to the video, and then I'm gonna get our precepts. Just before I get the video, I wanted to get this initially. So yeah, verse 12, I've already read because of the detestable things and abominations. That's what the Most High is punishing Israel. So Ezekiel 5 and 12 said, the third part of these shall die with the pestilence, diseases, CV-19. You got the, what's the latest one? But to be fair, there's been quite a few. I remember monkeypox being something that was lingering as well. Not meningitis, there was another one. But it's like a whole mixtape is going to be released again. Esau's going to release a whole album, which means just multiple diseases this time. It's not just going to be one. It's going to be multiple. Just with some of them as well, just side effects of the V, that was put in people's arms. Because that thing is compounded. I remember Apostle Tar made a video recently as well, and I think he named it, why can't you guys see this? Something along those lines. Where he said, he showed about the effects of that CV test, having nanoparticles there. Yeah, Aratazar, they don't flag this video. But yeah, having substances of which can be manipulated via those telecommunication networks, 5th generation. So this is a whole new level of warfare, man, biological warfare. Anyway, so yeah, third part of these shall die with pestilence, those in ignorance during those times who trusted in Esau, Edom, which is just foolishness. Never trust thine enemy, as Ecclesiasticus in the Apocrypha 12 and verse 10 refers to. You can't trust your enemy, man. You gotta be cautious when you deal with them, especially in the workplace or wherever you are anyways. And with famine shall they be consumed in the midst of thee. So that's the key part for this video. And with famine shall they be consumed in the midst of thee. And the third part shall fall by the sword, Esau's weapons, his guns that he's been blessed with. So, shall fall by the sword round about thee. And I will scatter a third part into all the winds, and I will draw out a sword after them. So that Jacob ain't going to get no rest. That's why Jeremiah 30, verse 7, as it's called, Jacob's trouble. Of course, you got the heathens are going to be like, what's the name that you call it? It's not friendly fire. It's another name for it, man. But yeah, it's like, well, there's just more fuel to the fire, for a lack of a better way to say it. I know there's a way to say it, but I forgot. Nevertheless, so yeah, famine, again it says, and with famine shall they be consumed. So again, pestilence, famine, and the sword. So there's going to be a lot of trouble. Of course, they're already receiving the sword anyways with ice over there in America. Pestilence and diseases, we know Esau's going to release the next mixtape. He's releasing it gradually as well. It says, and with famine. So with these heat waves over here in Europe, UK especially, they're going to start restricting the portions. And I believe as well, they said, hold on, let me check this. I believe there's one article here. Yep. It says Europe's drought drives 19%. In fact, let me just click on it. Just bear with me. Hopefully it loads up. If it don't load up, maybe there's something up. Okay. So yeah, it says here, Europe's drought drives 19% wheat price surge, puts next year's harvest at risk. So of course, it says drives 90% price surge, and of course wheat is used in a lot of products as well, especially bread. So imagine, I remember during CV-19 there was a restriction as well on certain food products. I think in the pastry section especially, there wasn't much there, man. There was not much there, so prepare your eyes to see that again. Not much bread or pastry items in the supermarkets. But again, we ain't got to worry about that. Now, let me actually get to this video. This is by ITV News recently.
Harvest 8 days ago now. Mad. We're in a pretty crazy. Finished harvest 8 days ago now. Mad. We're in any rain for like 40 days now or something, maybe even longer.
Normally, this would be a hive of activity behind me, but Harvest 2026 is over, and it's over a month early. Here we are at Chew's Farm near Little Samford, which is not too far from Braintree in Essex. It's one of the hottest and driest parts of the country. And just have a look at this. You can see the impact of what weeks and weeks of no rain looks like. The ground is cracked and so dry that the dust is whipping across the fields. Many eastern areas have seen no measurable rain for over a month, meaning that farmers are preparing for a low crop yield for the third consecutive year. And it doesn't just affect the local area here, of course. If you have a look at this map, you can see that sort of disproportionately, we've got our arable farming in the UK. That's crops in the ground across the eastern parts of the country. Further west, it's livestock. It's more in the way of the animals. But out where we need that rain most desperately for the fields, that is where it's been the driest. You can have a look, the brown where we're seeing it so incredibly dry. And the scary bit of this is the fact that it's not just about this year, it's affecting next year's harvest as well. Have a look.
I'm the fourth generation of farmers within our family, and we've never had this situation before where we're thinking about not cropping. We'll have another third year on the trot of reduced yields, and there'll be plenty of people go out of business, unfortunately, maybe up to 50%. I know it sounds a strong figure, but there will be food shortages if we keep getting extremes like this. It's getting ridiculous.
Yeah, and it's all under the Most High as well. Prophecy got to speak. The words of the scriptures got to come out, and it's coming out. Though it tarry, wait for it, because this is the moment after that tarrying. You know, the period of time where, you know, you got to wait for the scriptures to come out. This is it. This is it. Just like in Egypt as well, you know, they had the plagues that the Most High sent. You know, I'm going to read this, then of course relay a point about it as well. So as it says there on the top, the plague of locusts. So Exodus 10 and verse 1. And the Lord Yahweh said unto Moses, Go in unto Pharaoh, for I have hardened his heart, and the heart of his servants, that I might show these my signs before him. So of course he gave him a hard-headed mentality, you could say that, because the heart just refers to the mind. So verse 2, and that thou mayest tell the ears of thy son and thy son's son what things I have wrought in Egypt, and my signs which I have done among them, that ye may know that I am the Lord Yahweh. And Moses and Aaron came in unto Pharaoh, and said unto him, Thus saith the Lord Yahweh, the Most High of the Hebrews, the God of the Hebrews, How long wilt thou refuse to humble thyself before me? Let my people go, that they may serve me. And you're going to see that again against Babylon the Great, so-called, I say so-called, but yeah, America, you know, the modern day term for Babylon, aka Egypt, modern Egypt. They'll also be punished as well. You know, Most High going to harden Nero's heart, you know, with all this punishment towards Jake. But the affliction's going to be felt for real over there. And over here in Mother Babylon, you know, similar effects too, because it is Mother Babylon as well. So, verse 4, and again, Mother Babylon, because of the fact that it gave birth to America. You know, the British, when they came over with all the colonies as well, you know, during the time where they were enslaving Gad, of course, Northern Kingdom too. Anyway, so not to get too deep into that. So, verse 4, else if thou refuse to let my people go, behold, tomorrow I will bring the locusts into thy coasts, and they cover the face of the earth, that one cannot be able to see the earth. And they shall eat the residue, that which is escaped, which remaineth unto you from the hail, which was a previous plague, hail and fire. It says, remaineth unto you from the hill, and shall eat every tree which groweth for you out of the field. I'm going to read verse 5 in the NLT as well. They will cover the land, so the locusts will cover the land so that you won't be able to see the ground. They will devour what little is left of your crops after the hailstorm, including all the trees growing in the fields. So that's also reference to famine as well. Let me read verse 6 now, the KJV. And they shall fill thy houses and the houses of thy servants and the houses of all the Egyptians, which neither thy fathers nor thy fathers' fathers have seen since the day that they were upon the earth unto this day. And he turned himself and went out from Pharaoh. So Moses was relaying the message to Pharaoh. Now, of course, the point is that the locusts ate up all the crops, man. So that would have been a famine of the land as well. So people would have looked famished, malnourished in that time. So don't be surprised when you see that typical look in people as well. There is something that I noticed as well, whilst, on YouTube as well. Sometimes you see these posts. And one of the posts said, was talking about, what's her name? I think it's Jenna Ortega. Yeah, Jenna Ortega and what's the other one? Oh yeah, Ariana Grande as well, with these slim looks to the point of malnourishment that it's like Hollywood keeps pushing on the left-hand side. So, and then a commenter actually said, they're trying to push this look of malnourishment because they're giving signals that famine is coming. So that could be little signals on the left-hand side of what's to come. Which, to be fair, don't be surprised at that as well. Because with the way things are going, yeah, man, that famine's going to get people. It's gonna catch a lot of people by surprise, even though it's already creeping up. But those who are ignorant, let them be ignorant still. All right, so yeah, let me go to the next precept. So yeah, Luke 4, verse 4 says, and Yahushua answered. In fact, yeah, this was when he was tempted by, Satan, whilst I was doing his 40-day fast, I believe. Yep, 40-day fast. But I'm going to read the point. It says, and Yahushua answered him, saying, it is written that man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word of the Most High. And it's true, but these are the scriptures that we're reading. That's what gives us faith. Yeah, we've established the fact that there will be a famine, but now we're going into the exaltation side as well. So now you got the edification, it's built up your knowledge, your awareness of what's about to happen. Now we're going to give you the encouragement as well, which we ought to do in these videos. Hence why I always say, of course, Yahweh Tazar, I do remember to say, Yahweh Tazar, that this is an edifying and exhorting video to build up your knowledge and to encourage you as well. So this is Psalms 33 and verse 20. Our soul waiteth for the Lord Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai. He is our help and our shield. Protection spiritually, mentally, physically. And our help as well, spiritually, mentally, physically. And you have to know that within yourself. Right. And that's why during these famine as well, as Yahushua said in the previous chapter, Luke 4, verse 4, man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word of the Most High. These scriptures are the ones you need to keep in mind. He's our help and our shield. So in a time where everyone else is hungry, we're going to be eating. And you have to know that. It's one of those things where it's like, don't question how, just know. Now, it says in Job 5 and verse... I'll start from 19, but the key part really is verse 20 and verse 22 as well. So Job 5 and 19, he shall deliver thee. So Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, Yahweh and Yahushai, he shall deliver thee in 6 troubles, yea, in 7 there shall no evil touch thee. So of course we ain't got to worry about any evils or troubles to to affect us. Now, of course, in the MOTB time, whatever torment or afflictions that we have to suffer through for rejecting it, so be it. That's it. But of course, for as long as for those who are being pilgrims upon the earth, of course, upon that time of, again, you can't be part of the MOTB system, you got to reject it. Some will be pilgrims, some will be cast into prison, as the scriptures say. But for those of whom are pilgrims, no evil going to touch us. Even in prison, no evil going to touch us. Yahweh Shem Shah going to preserve us. Some brothers going to get spiritual power. But anyways, that's a video for another time. Verse 20, in famine he shall redeem thee, the spiritual power, angels as well encamping around them, and of course protecting you as well under the command of Yahweh Shai, to protect you. So anyways, this is just more exhortation. So Job 5:20, in famine he shall redeem thee from death, and in war from the power of the sword. Meaning, we're not going to die of hunger. No matter what, we're not going to die of hunger. Let me give you a little scenario as well. You could be, I don't know, walking, wherever, whatever, state over there in America or over here in the UK, walking wherever. And then, let's say you haven't eaten, maybe one day you've been fasting. It could have been 2 days, depending on what Mosai wants to make you go through. Or even just a few hours. And then a guy just walks up to you and say, I got some spare food. You want to eat some? Maybe a sandwich, tuna sandwich or something. Or maybe they got like some tin sardines. Or even better yet, maybe some cake or bread or whatever. Something good, something that will give you more nutrients or something to eat. And of course, the Most High ain't going to give you some bullshit. But yeah, that type of scenario can easily happen. It could be an angel who comes in the form of man and then says, yeah, I got some food for you, man, so, eat up. And then the Most High is giving you food. So that type of scenario could easily happen. And you have to know it. That's just one thing of many things. You could give you spiritual power to create food out of nothing as well. And that's the thing, it really just comes down to your level of faith. Do you believe it? Do you know it? Do you know it? Without nothing? And of course, these times that we're in right now is to build up our faith to come to that level where the so-called impossible really is nothing, man. Because again, we have our trust in Yahweh Shem Yahushua. He is our help and our shield. All right, verse 21, thou shalt be hid from the scourge of the tongue, neither shalt thou be afraid of destruction when it cometh. So we ain't got to worry about slander, as it says there on the right-hand side. It says, you will be safe from slander and have no fear from when destruction comes. And then verse 22, which is a key part again, because verse 20 talks about famine. Verse 22 also talks about famine. It says, at destruction and famine thou shalt laugh, neither shalt thou be afraid of the beasts of the earth. So imagine if you got a spirit where at destruction and famine, this is where there's all out chaos. Apocalyptic type of level where people are saying, where we're going to eat food. Cannibalism is going to be going on as well. I believe it's mentioned in Ezekiel as well. We're going to be laughing. Imagine that. And you got to be in a joyous state or pretty much thriving in the spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahushua to be able to laugh like that. You're going to see things to make you laugh. And I'm also he's going to put things in front of you that's going to make you laugh. It might be a little bit sadistic, but nevertheless, it's a cold spirit out here. And the remnant of Yahweh Shem Yahushua is going to have the coldest spirit. People are going to be asking, how in the world are you in this state? Because when there was time, when we were in that grace period, to build our relationship with Yahweh Shem Yahushua, to pray, to commune, to ask for more faith, wisdom, protection, that was the building that was going on. But now that the flood is here, which really is going to be fire for Babylon, metaphorically speaking, now that the flood is here, how strong is your ark? That's the thing. Hopefully you guys, understand what I mean. But yeah. So how strong is your foundation with Yahweh Shem Yahushua, where he will show you favor? Because of course, a person in the world, he ain't got no relationship with Yahweh and Yahushua. That's why they're gonna be punished, and they'll be shocked by these plagues that Yahweh Shem Yahushua brings during Jacob's trouble. But again, As I've been reading, we don't have to worry about these things. That's the thing. Nevertheless, of course, as the scriptures say, a prudent man foreseeth the evil and he hideth himself. So, you do what you gotta do according to the power Yahweh Shemashah gives you. But don't be so attached to these physical goods. That's the point. Because eventually, when the time comes, you gotta leave your house. You gotta leave your house, no matter what you gotta save there. That's the point. So, either way, it all ends on faith in Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Always remember that. So yeah, I'll leave it there. That's the latest news right now. So prepare thy minds. Shalom, Yahweh Shem Yahushua, Barakatah.